The Minnesota Timberwolves, kind of a disappointment. I mean, I say kind of. It was kind of hard for them to have team success this year. For these reasons, their season defined in 3 bullet points or whatever. Injuries, big part of their season. Cat missed a lot of time in the beginning, came back, missed a lot of time again. D'Lo missed some time as well. These were the players that were supposed to form a dynamic duo, and at the beginning of the season, they didn't really get to play that much together. So that was kind of hard for the Timberwolves to overcome. Anthony Edwards emerged early in the season. He had a lot of struggles. Midway through the season, he became the Rookie of the Year leading candidate. And then the third thing that defines their season, the same fucking questions surround this team. They have a lot of offensive talent, a lot of offensive personnel, a lot of offensive potential, but they have literally still done nothing to address their defensive concerns. So let's do a light breakdown of the players on this team, the core players and the prospects. One being Karl Anthony Towns as the core player, as this team's franchise player. We know he's an elite offensive weapon. I mean, this man honestly might be the most skilled big in our league, most offensively skilled big in our league. He's a great low post scorer, he's a great shooting big, he has a great handle for a big, and he's a great passing big. We've known this about Cat for the past, ever since he came into the league, we've known this about Cat. It's just on the defensive end where everything is just, there's been no development on the defensive end for Cat. He's still slow on rotations and help side defense, and he's kind of the antithesis of a defensive anchor. I'm trying to think to the last team that won a championship with their center being subpar defensively. Not saying that the Timberwolves are close to championship contention, but obviously every team wants to win a championship. So the next player of their core is Anthony Edwards. Now you're probably saying, oh, Ryan, this dude is a rookie, or he just finished his rookie season. Why is he in the core players already? He should be in the prospect players. Well, he low-key is their second best player already. I'm saying it. Yeah, he's that fucking good, and D'Lo kind of fell off a little bit this year. Not fell off, but he's just been a bit stagnant. Anthony Edwards is a gifted athlete. We've seen all of his highlight dunks this year, all of his just crazy finishes. He's got a scorer's mindset. He always wants to attack the basket, and he more often than not finishes with reckless abandon. He's a disruptive defender. He's very adept at getting in passing lanes and sparking a fast break via his deflections or steals. And honestly, he just has the mindset of somebody who's going to be a star or maybe even a superstar someday. Even though I always believed in D'Lo, I never thought he had the mindset of a superstar caliber player. Well, I think Anthony Edwards has that mindset, and I think he's going to reach it one day. He does have some struggles with defensive consistency. Like I said, he's very adept at getting off-ball steals, but he needs to improve with on-ball defense and reading screens. His shooting is a bit of a downside. He's made some strides as the season has gone on, but it's not very consistent. I think his shooting really gets going when he's gotten a couple of buckets at the rim. That's when it's kind of like 2K when you get your takeover. When you get slashing takeover in 2K, your 3-point shooting is buffed by, I think, 3 points or 4 points somehow. It's kind of like that for Edwards. When he really gets going at attacking at the rim, he really becomes that much better of a shot creator from downtown. And his playmaking looked horrible at the beginning of the season. He was forcing passes that did not look to be open at all. His reads were a bit slower. But he's gotten a lot more comfortable in terms of making plays for others as the season has gone on. I'm really impressed with Anthony Edwards' play from the midway of the season to the end of it. Next player of their core is obviously D'Angelo Russell. He's still a great pick-and-roll offensive guard, still a great shot creator, especially from the mid-range with his floaters, still a great shooter. His defense, it really hasn't made any progression throughout his career, hasn't progressed at all in this past offseason as well. He's never going to be a great defender because he's so limited in terms of athleticism. He just isn't quick laterally, so that's always going to slow him down. it's still tough for him, man. Health has also been a concern for D'Lo. He's kind of been injury riddled for his career. He was injury riddled in his sophomore year in LA. He missed half of the season in his first year with Brooklyn, and this season he had to go through an injury, and from the midway of the season to the end, he was getting eased back into the flow of things off the bench. So health might always be a concern for D'Lo. The last member of their core is Malik Beasley. He's an efficient source of offense, great off-ball scorer. Most of his points either come from catch and shoot threes or at the rim. Doesn't really take that many low percentage mid-range shots. Very active mover off the ball, running around screens. I'm sounding like a broken record, but he cannot defend shit like most of the star players on Minnesota. He can't defend anything. He's not much of a playmaker either, but again, the running theme for Minnesota players is that their offense is high in terms of potential and caliber, but their defense is nowhere near their offense. Some of the prospects I want to talk about, one being Nasreed. He came into the team with potential as a floor-spacing rim protector 2 years ago. He's kind of shown that thus far. Very disruptive in terms of blocking shots and disrupting lob passes, and he's very adept at hitting threes for a center. There was some thought that he could be a good defensive big man that could play next to Cat while retaining spacing, but the defensive need is for someone that can be good on defense inside and out, perimeter and in the paint. He can serve as a great backup center in Minnesota for however long he's there for. The next prospect is Jaden McDaniels. He came in viewed as a raw prospect because he was, I think, one of the top 5 people coming out of high school. Then he kind of had a subpar year at Washington, so that kind of lowered his draft stock. But after this season, he's already been viewed as one of Minnesota's best 3 defenders, with him, Josh Okogie, and Ricky Rubio. But Jaden is definitely the most versatile out of the bunch by far. He's 6'10", very quick. These 2 things allow him to comfortably guard 2 through 4 as a rookie. And he's already gotten a lot of time against the opposing team's best scorers. I saw a game where he was matched up against Luka. Not like he was getting switched onto Luka via pick and rolls, but he was literally the guy getting thrown at Luka because he was Minnesota's best option. Defense is what has got him so many minutes despite being a rookie, but his offensive development will determine his ceiling. He hit the 3 ball at a solid level throughout the season, which has allowed him to be a good versatile 3-and-D role player. He's kind of like Robert Covington, but Jaden definitely has some more on-ball defensive capabilities and a higher potential to guard on ball. But if he can showcase some of his offensive prowess he displayed in high school, he could definitely have a ceiling more similar to Pistons' Jeremy Grant. The Wolves could have possibly found the ideal power forward next to Cat in Jaden McDaniels. They had been targeting guys like Grant and Aaron Gordon, but if Jaden can hop on an upward trajectory, he might have the potential to be at the caliber of those 2 versatile forwards. Looking at Minnesota's offseason, let's start out with the draft. Their pick is top 3 protected, but it very well might not be in the top 3, but I'm gonna look at the pick as if they do land a top 3 pick. I think their best target is Evan Mobley. He's a versatile defensive big, great disciplined rim protector, and he has potential to be a very solid perimeter defender as a big due to his lateral quickness, and this would allow him to play next to Cat at the power forward position. He's someone that can handle the ball and facilitate very well for a 7-footer. In my opinion, his shooting consistency will really dictate his ceiling. Mobley is someone that doesn't really bang as much down low as you expect from a 7-footer, but that's fine for the modern game, and it gives a lot more room for Cat to do his thing in post-ups down low. Mobley should be able to score very well within the offense, playing off of Cat, D'Lo, and Ant, who's improving as a playmaker. So I think this is definitely Minnesota's best target to go after because of his defensive prowess. Jalen Suggs, in my opinion, is the second best prospect for Minnesota. He's a great defensive combo guard with arguably the best vision in the draft. He's a great on-ball defender, very opportunistic off-ball defender as well. In terms of his playmaking, he made great reads in transition and pick-and-roll play. He's 6'4" and 200 pounds, so he should be able to comfortably guard either backcourt position. D'Lo needs defensive help, so whichever of the worst backcourt players Minnesota would match up against, D'Lo could take the worst guy. If Suggs lives up to his potential on defense, he can guard the best backcourt player on any given night. Shot creation is a bit of a weakness in Suggs' game, but that is the strength of the Timberwolves' current young core as a whole, so there really wouldn't be too much offensive pressure on him coming in. Cunningham is the third best prospect for the Timberwolves to target. He's the best prospect according to many of this class. One of the draft's best shot creators, one of the draft's best passers. His assists per game numbers weren't high, but he's adept at making tough passes cross court or in a tight pocket. He's got great size as a 6'8" point guard, which allows him to see over defenses, take on a smaller guard in the post, and comfortably switch 1 through 3, maybe even 1 through 4. He's a great 3-point shooter in catch and shoot or off the dribble. His handle is a tad bit slow for being the primary ball handler. It's something he'll have to work at to be an elite offensive weapon in the NBA. Defensive consistency was kind of an issue because he did get burned by smaller guards from time to time on the perimeter, though his potential as an extremely versatile defender is through the roof. The offensive upside adding K to the Wolves' core is pretty insane. Free agent and trade targets, I don't really have any for Minnesota. They don't really have cap space to go after anyone. I don't think anybody wants to sign in Minnesota. I don't think there's a clear role player for them to sign either, and I don't think there's a clear guy for them to go after via the trade. But I really haven't given it too much thought either, so take that into account. Major questions for Minnesota this offseason. What is their plan if they lose their pick? Because I literally just detailed 3 of the top prospects in this class, but they're only going to have a chance to get one of those prospects if their pick lands in the top 3. And it's a very good chance that it doesn't. So what is their plan if they lose that pick? Are they going to trade into the late lottery or a mid-first round pick to snag a prospect they like? Because the 2021 class is pretty deep. It has a lot of value that you can find in the mid to late first round. And are they planning ahead for this? Like, this is something that an experienced front office has to do. They have to have a backup plan for the worst case scenario. Next question is, how long will the D'Lo experiment last? They may not say this if you asked the front office of Minnesota, but they got D'Lo to appease Cat. Not because he's a great player, but he's also one of Cat's best friends in the league. He's been good, but I'm not sure if him as the number 2 option getting paid as a max player is a formula for success for Minnesota. Next question, speaking of number 2s, is Anthony Edwards the official number 2 going forward? He's probably going to be the rookie of the year. He's someone who's wired to score, very assertive, very aggressive, and he's slowly improving as a playmaker. Definitely has a higher ceiling than D'Lo. Honestly, in my opinion, he might be better than D'Lo right now, so is he going to be the official number 2 going forward? And the final question, probably the most important question, what is Cat's temperament? He's getting close to that AD trade age and AD trade stage. He's nearing the end of his rookie extension. Team hasn't really seen that much playoff success, that year with Jimmy Butler, but that's about it. He's in his prime. So what is his patience level right now? Direction for Minnesota, they're buying. As of right now, they are nowhere near contending in their conference. The Wolves have to make some moves this offseason to address their defensive holes. It's possible to do it through the draft if they retain their pick. I don't see any avenues through free agency due to them being capped out. I don't think there's an obvious trade for them to make, but their front office gets paid to make those savvy moves while I do not. And the pressure is on to do so because if they don't, next season very well may be the last of the Karl Anthony Towns era. This might be Minnesota's most important offseason in recent memory. Karl Anthony Towns in his 6-year career has been to the playoffs once. I think I would be safe in assuming that he's approaching his breaking point, one that Kevin Garnett reached in his time with the Wolves, and more recently one that Anthony Davis reached in his time with the Pelicans, 2 of the league's most talented bigs in history. Even though Minnesota has a very promising talent in Anthony Edwards and another intriguing rookie in Jaden McDaniels, obviously they'd still like to retain their franchise centerpiece. And I believe making a lot of improvements this summer to hopefully lead to a promising 2021 to 2022 campaign is the only way for the Wolves to sway Cat away from demanding a trade in the near future.
They want me catching murder, ain't going back with myself. I'm out here, switch up and going.